Oh, hi. I was pretending I didn't see you there. I was just dusting my VHS tapes. You know, I've been thinking about the ways we watch movies in this day and age of online streaming services, and comparing them to the older methods of buying movies physically. And I started wondering, what if there was an in-between? What if I wanted to spend far more money, while also being a slave to my tedious internet connection? Boy, am I about to waste your time. Now, buying movies from the comfort of your own home has been around for decades with the advent of pay-per-view. The first one being a boxing match way back in 1960, the Johansson v. Patterson rematch. A boxing match so anticipated, you had to send $2 to the cable company through the mail just to watch it. Nowadays, the average cost to watch a fight is between $65 and $75. That's right, I know how to Google things. But what I'm referring to now is movies and TV shows. Movies have had their own pay-per-view for decades, but if you were a total cheapskate, you could always watch what was free on demand through your cable company. This was very common among digital cable companies when I was still watching TV, around the late 2000s. I would just hop onto whatever channel had decent content, so I could watch that instead of studying for my ACTs. Now on to the modern era. If you're watching a movie or TV show, nowadays, you're probably watching it over the internet. But in this situation, I'm not referring to content streaming sites specifically. So no Netflix and chill, no Crunchyroll and coitus, and no porkin' while watching Peacock. I mean being able to buy movies and then watch them in the comfort of cyberspace whenever and wherever. It's always been a big dream of mine to be able to watch my favorite movies and shows whenever I want. That comes from a youth filled with massively long road trips. But nothing in the early 2000s ever worked properly. My Video Now player always skipped, and I could never find any Game Boy Advance video carts at my local retailers. Moreover, these devices always seemed to have pretty major setbacks and lacked content. The first time I ever saw a real portable movie experience was on the iPod. When the first video-capable iPods were first released in 2005, I saw the future laid out before me, so of course, I never bought one. But seeing movies available for purchase in the same manner as with the music, oh, that opened the floodgates, and we've been stuck in a hell ever since. Now, the way I get most of my digital movies is, ironically, from buying physical movies. Most new releases have this text on top denoting whether or not it comes with a digital code that can be redeemed. Personally, I think that's a really good system because it feels like an actual incentive to buy a movie new. At least in theory. I can tell you from personal experience that there are plenty of movie buyers that not only never use these codes, but probably don't even know how. Back in the day, any paper that came with a movie was usually just junk or advertising. So who cares about some rinky-dink piece of paper when it's getting in the way of My Fair Lady? I personally go to a lot of thrift stores, so whenever I see Blu-ray movies there, a lot of the times not only do I see the code still in there, but if I buy the movie and take it home, the code still hasn't even been used. Not to mention the less savory ways people get these codes. Obviously, since these codes are printed on pieces of paper, you can pretty much take it and sell it to whoever you want. This kind of leads to a weird digital black market, where people are selling off digital movies to the highest bidder. I generally stay away from these sites. The websites are kind of sketchy, and it's hard to trust the codes won't get reported and taken away. But there's several places to get these movies more legitimately, so let's go over some of the bigger services I know. First off is Google Movies and TV, part of the Google Play Store. It makes sense for Apple's big competitor in the smart devices market to also have their own chunk of the digital movie market. Honestly, I've always used Android phones, but I don't really use this market very much. I never find any good deals on it, and the UI is not very helpful. However, one of the cooler benefits is that if you buy something on Google, you can watch it on your YouTube profile directly on the YouTube app. A lot of services have their own dedicated players you have to watch in-app. Garbage is a nice way to describe most of them. So it's nice to be able to watch my movies on the same app that I watch videos of people stepping on things. Next is obviously iTunes, or the Apple Store as it's probably better known now. The benefit obviously here is that just like your music, you can sync your content directly to the Apple device you have. I don't have any Apple devices, so personally I think that ship has kind of sailed for me. If it's not playable on the ZVU media player, don't even talk to me about it. But in terms of the services I use the most, it's gotta be Vudu. Owned by Fandango, though it's been passed around from other owners before, Vudu's always seems to have the best deals in my opinion. Constantly running deals for movies at $5 a pop. However, the thing that Vudu wins me over with is their disc-to-digital system. I've mentioned before that I like to buy my movies physically with a digital code, but what about the movies you already own that don't have any digital codes? Well, with Vudu you can scan the barcode on your movies, participating movies, and for $2 a pop you can add them to your digital library. Personally, I think that's a great deal, and I've slowly but surely converted as much of my collection over as possible. At least as much as I can without my financial advisor having an aneurysm. Nobody tell him how much money I spend on plastic. And cardboard. Of course, only a certain list of movies is compatible with the service, so some brave souls online have dedicated themselves to listing out what works and what doesn't. And honestly, God bless these brave souls, because I don't have the patience for that amount of trial and error. Even when I'm using a movie on this list, though, sometimes it just won't work, and I don't know why. I just don't know what I'm doing wrong. It's also a shame when certain studios won't play ball. The biggest offender obviously being Disney. The big mouse would never abide by a customer ever paying such a low price for something they already own. The audacity! Now, to make sure you aren't just picking up movies off the street and scanning away, the app makes you keep your GPS on your device so they know you're in the comfort of your own home. But then again, most local libraries these days offer movies to rent for free, so I guess nothing's really stopping you from taking home a few of their movies, scanning those codes from your couch. I mean, as long as Vudu gets their $2, I guess everything's peachy keen, right? But on that logic, I guess you could also find a website that looks up barcodes that you're looking for and scan them directly from there, right? I mean, it may be more of a hassle, but it's probably a lot less likely to get you in trouble than straight up pirating, right? Not that I would know. But what if I want the benefits from each of these services all rolled into one? What if I already own some movies from a few different services and want them under a single umbrella? What if I want to watch these movies anywhere? Yeah, that's a stupid idea, I know. Movies Anywhere, a movie store that allows you to connect all of your other libraries for one big movie collection. It even connects with certain movie loyalty programs so you can redeem points directly. But that's a whole different story. I mean, with all this, Movies Anywhere has to be perfect, right? Yeah, no. See, just like how Disney wants nothing to do with selling movies for $2 each, some studios want nothing to do with Movies Anywhere, meaning several of my movies are trapped on these other apps, and my dream of one complete collection is yet to be fulfilled. Well, at least we can watch the stuff we've already bought. In fact, let's go watch John Wick on my PS4. Yeah, you can buy and watch movies on your Xbox and your PlayStation as well. At least you used to be able to. That changed in 2021 when Sony actually removed the feature to buy them. Adding salt to the wound was later on Sony losing out on licensing with Studio Canal, leading to a lot of customers not being able to access the movies they already bought from the studio. Stuff like this is a bitter reminder that when you buy these movies on digital platforms, you aren't really owning them, just renting indefinitely. That's why, despite my love for all these digital movies, despite the convenience, despite the fact that I can talk for on and on for as long as this stupid video is, I prefer having physical media around. I know that it's a pain to dig around for your discs, put them in your player, and then put them away when you're done. But that disc is yours, and no matter what, nobody can take it away from you. I admit that I watch most of my movies through streaming now, but I always make sure to keep a proper disc for my favorites around. Plus, they often come with cool bonus features and gorgeous artwork if you're willing to shop around for an exclusive version. Plus, physical movies often go down in price relatively quickly, while the digital stuff is often super pricey even years later, even when the movie is total trash. I understand that physical media is becoming more of a niche market, and I'm all for it. There are a lot of great companies like Shout Factory and Arrow Video that are putting out really cool stuff. But for myself, I'm probably still going to keep buying them physically. And the digital stuff is just a nice bonus. But one good thing about digital movies is being able to watch them even when you don't have a Blu-ray player plugged in. Let's go watch something in the living room. I'm sorry, sweetie, I never should have left you.